Okay, so like for all the questions in this, we are one to determine the type of growth pattern we're seeing. Two, calculate the area of the shape in step 10, and then write an expression that will give us the number, the area of the shape in step n. So I am going to start by just establishing a t-chart where our x represents the step number and our y represents the number of the area of the shape. So for step 1, we have 2 squares in it, so that's an area of 2. For step 2, we have 7 squares. Step 3, we have 14 squares. And so if we're looking at how the pattern is growing so far, here is what I notice. From 2 to 7, that's a plus 5. From 7 to 14, that's a plus 7. And if I examine what's going on, we have 1 by 2, and there's an extra bit on top. Then we have a 2 by 3 and an extra 1 on top. We have a 3 by 4. So I'm going to think that, for step 4, if I'm following this pattern correctly, this is what I expect. For step 4, I'm going to draw a shape that has because the sides keep increasing by 1 each time. So we're going to have a 4 by 5. And then we have 2 extra, though that's also growing by 1. So we're going to have 3 extra on the top. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to have 3 excess squares. So this is my step 4. So 4 times 5, that's 20. 20 plus 3, that's going to be 23. So I know in my step 4, I am going to end up having 23 squares. So if I'm looking at the way that this shape is growing, well, I can see growing squares. So that's a 1 by 1. Here is my 2 by 2. Here is my 3 by 3. And then here would be my 4 by 4. Now, what do I notice about the extra that's left? So each time I also have a row, a 1 row, 1 column, of the step number, 1 column of my step number, 1 column of my step number, and then on the top, I notice, oh, this is my step number minus 1. This is my step number minus 1. This is my step number minus 1. So the way I think about it is my yellow portion let's go back. So this is growing by adding 9. So what we notice is there's no constant rate, but the rate of change is changing at a constant value. From 5 to 7, that's a plus 2, and from 7 to 9, that's a plus 2. So this tells us that we're looking at quadratic growth. All right, so this is showing quadratic growth. So based on what's going on, if I should try to put into an expression, what I notice is that my yellow area is representative of the square of my step number. So it's n. That's going to be n times n. My blue area is actually just 1 times n. That should be blue. So that's 1 times n. And my green area is n minus 1. That's going to be n. And then together, that will give us our expression. So if we want to draw the pattern for step n. Oh, come on, Mrs. Thomas. Then there are 3 parts to our diagram. There is one portion that is going to be n times n. There is one column of n, so this is 1 times n. And then on top we have a row of n minus 1 times n. So the expression that gives this is going to be n squared plus n minus 1, and when we simplify that, it's going to be n squared plus 2n minus 1. So yellow region. Ugh. Oh, I'm failing. Blue region. And green region. Hope this was helpful.